What's up, guys? It's the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And you guys are tuned into Caught
In Conversation.
Shaka Laka Laka. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 154 of Caught in Conversation, a hard day's fight. I am your host, the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am your co-host, Nova Lee.
I feel like that caffeine has hit you already, my love.
And I haven't even had a sip yet.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's just the aroma of the cappuccino and the
it's
sugar.
It's probably
and
from
the
all the
drinking
lollies
chocolate.
and shit that I had yesterday. It's still hanging around.
Yeah, I'm glad you said yesterday. I was going to say, what? You had lollies without me?
It's when we had the lollipops and stuff last night.
Oh, dude.
And I felt sick because I ate too much crap.
The lollipops that were on your birthday cake that have been...
Yeah, they were great.
Thankfully, they were still in the plastic, where they sat there for, 2.5 weeks since your birthday now?
Yeah, I think so.
We had self-control. I don't know how, but we had self-control. Anyway, today we are here to Nova Lee to do our preview and predictions of ECW Hard Day's fight, hashtag ECW Hard Day. And before we get underway, we have managed to do this, knock on wood, because we could receive an email from ECW management like we did last time when we were literally halfway through recording, and they were like, if you have a chance, edit this into the episode. And it was like, well, you're in luck because I'm actually recording right now. But we haven't had anyone hijack the show. Even Jake Gibson, who threatened to, who kind of hinted like he was going to do it, didn't do it. I think he's just focusing right now. You know, it's got about a week and a bit. It's
it's coming up fast.
But as I record this, it is Wednesday, the 19th of February, and I'm actually going to drop this episode as soon as we finish this, just so we've got a few extra days on top of the week to plug and promote and everything else. And it's coming close. Obviously, after having to postpone in November, everyone's chewing at the bit to get back in there, and I'm chewing at the bit to sit at the desk again. And first show for 2025, first show for you, Nova Lee. We've actually got some new cue cards that we've got to chop up and laminate and do all the little bits and bobs for yourself. But would you, Nova Lee, like to do the song and match of the week? I feel like the song's pretty freaking obvious, but I'll let you...
Pretty fucking self-explanatory.
Let you do the bits and the bobs and we'll explain it, and then we'll get into these predictions and see just how far we disagree. There's 6 matches on this cast, so be interesting to see how we go in terms of predictions.
Alrighty. So, for episode 154, A Hard Day's Night is your Song of the Week by Hoodoo Gurus, and your match is Steve Corino versus Colby Corino, PWF, hashtag Colby25.
Yes, so obviously because Colby Corino is a second-generation superstar, he's been around the business, he's been a part of the business as a kid. There was actually a storyline when he was a teenager early on in Ring of Honor. So... And even before that, as a kid, he'd been shown here and there in storylines with Steve. So to Colby Corino, as the ultimate heel, was saying, almost doing what Dominic Mysterio is doing now, saying that he's been in the business for 25 years, despite the fact that, he's, not much older than that. So it was a little heelish thing that he did for that show, and he managed to get Steve out of retirement. And the weird thing is, Nova, I say every week, like with the songs and the matches here and there, that I'm like, how haven't we used this song, or how haven't we used that match? I genuinely thought that we'd use this match, because we have talked about this match many times on this podcast, and I don't know how it slipped through the cracks, but basically, obviously, Extreme Capital Wrestling, heavily influenced by Extreme Championship Wrestling. My ADHD brain, in this particular case, usually when we do these previews, we go to a classic ECW match just to kind of pay homage, but my brain was to you. I said, hey, I'm vibing something Steve Corino. What do you think? Because when I think ECW, he's one of the figureheads that I think of just because he's one of my personal favourites. And you're like, yeah, cool, let's go Steve Corino. And then at some point, I just pivoted. It's still Steve Corino.
Yeah, it works.
But yeah, no, that's how this match of the week came about. But I'm mind-boggled because technology has this little feature where you can search by buzzword. So I searched buzzword Carino, and only one Steve Carino match is on this list. Like, I swear up and down that we had this as a match of the week, because we have talked about it on 4 or 5 different episodes.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how the song and match came to be. Obviously, this banger cover by the Hoodoo Gurus.
Hard Day's Night. I might have said a Hard Day's Fight.
No, you did say a Hard Day's Night.
I did? Okay.
Yeah,
I was just doubting myself. It's like, wait.
The event is called Hard Day's Fight. But yeah, banger cover by the Hoodoo Gurus. I'm very partial to their... Obviously, What's My Scene is a great song, but they parodied their own damn song, but That's My Team. That's my go-to with the Hoodoo Gurus. But no, banger tune, banger song. Banger tune, banger song. That's very redundant. He's saying the same damn thing twice. What I was trying to say was banger tune / song and a banger band.
Yeah.
What are words? Buy the t-shirt. I should have a t-shirt that just says buy the t-shirt at this point. Buy this t-shirt. My God, Benevolent. Unfortunately, because, ECW have been very busy, they actually sent Nick Maltino out on assignment very recently to do a couple of radio shows, one in Braidwood, one at the University of Canberra. So ECW management have been very busy with paperwork and the like. They didn't get a chance to send us the match card as they usually do, like in terms of the order that it's going to happen. Usually they let us have that little tidbit. So we're going to do this in the order that we'd book it, Nova. And I feel like if I know ECW management like I think I do, it's probably going to be pretty close to what we've got here.
Yeah.
But I think we just get straight into this card, because without people hijacking the show, in theory, it leaves room for us to rant. But 2, hopefully we can ease up on the ranting and just get through this and do our preview and predictions and hopefully build some buzz, brother, about the Extreme Capital Wrestling event and going forward. So we have 2 qualifying matches for the ECW Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Basically, the ECW Cup holder will get a shot at any title in ECW. We only have 1 title currently, but I'm assuming, that's kind of a given that it's going to be the heavyweight title. We've only got the 1 championship, but the winner of this cup gets a guaranteed championship whenever they want. They can cash it in, during the event, during a match, after a match. They can announce that they're going to cash it in and shake up a match. It's free reign to do anything they want. Obviously, there's a lot of different companies that have similar stipulations without, straight up shouting out individual international promotions, because we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about Extreme Capital Wrestling. But basically, the person that wins this cup, that cup holds their entire future. Like, that cup holds their destiny. And it's, honestly, there's like a 99.99% chance that you can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that percentage that, miscalculation. But for all intents and purposes, whoever wins this cup, they could very well be the next ECW heavyweight champion.
They could. They definitely could.
But the 2 matches we have for the tournament, Nova, we have Tank versus Zack Striker. We have Jackson Thornhill versus James Marshall. If I was a betting man, I personally would put James Marshall versus Jackson Thornhill first, mainly just because the old adage is your main event and your opener have to be the 2 strongest match. Like, your opener has to be as strong as the main event. Yada yada yada. I said it back to front the first time, but opener has to be as strong as the main event. This is a match, Nova Lee, 7 years in the making by the time that it happens. Legitimately. I could be wrong on the dates, but I think it was February 2018. I'm pretty sure. May have been the one in May 2018, but I think off the top of my head it was February. But regardless, we're closing in on 7 years anyway.
Yeah.
Jackson Thornhill, when he was Kid Loco / Loco Kid, I always get the order of the name mixed up just because he only had it the one time before he eventually morphed into Jackson Thornhill. But he was in a triple threat, James Marshall, Sam Driver. On that night, Jackson Thornhill / Kid Loco, whatever you want to call him, he didn't have a very good showing in terms of results, but in the 5-6 minutes or whatever that he was out there, he showed a lot of heart, and I guess he did something to impress James Marshall, because ever since James Marshall has been begging, absolutely begging for a singles match against Jackson Thornhill, and Jackson Thornhill himself has been saying, I want another crack at Marshall.
Yeah.
Because Marshall won that match. He took off bloody Sam Driver's head with the lariat. He hit Jackson Thornhill with the F5. And I think Jackson Thornhill, feels like he could have done better, knows he could have done better, and obviously as the years go by and the more training under his belt, he's developed a bit of an attitude as of late as well. So maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder. But both these guys begging for this match for 7 years. So I think, with all due respect to Zack Stryker and Tank and Whiplex and Dad Squad and She-Wolf, T-Factor, obviously Doomslayer and Jay Gibson are in the main event. But with all due respect to anyone on this card, I think this match
definitely
should and probably will be the opener. But my prediction, I usually ask you who your prediction is first, but I'm just going to straight up say I've gone against Rogue quite a lot in these, which has unfortunately rubbed my boys the wrong way, but it's shocked a lot of people because they just expected me to go Rogue. But in this particular match, I'm going Rogue. No pun not intended. Jackson Thornhill, I think
agree.
James Marshall did take a little bit of time off. Jackson Thornhill has been a world heavyweight champion. He is now one half of the ICW Tag Team Champions with Zack Stryker. I know there's been a little bit of tension there. I'm trying to get that ironed out, but I think this ends with a kiss from the Rose and the Grace. James Marshall, perhaps a fall from grace, if you will. I think Jackson Thornhill advances straight up to the semi-final, or the final rather.
I actually agree with that a lot. I feel like just like the stock that Jackson Thornhill's put into his career so far, I feel like he's going to beat him to go through.
And I don't know if he's debuting it at this show or not, but obviously we've got ECW March 1st, literally the week after we got Insane Asylum for ICW.
Yeah.
Jackson Thornhill has not one but two very sexy sets of gear. I don't know if he's going to have them ready by these shows, but he's to your credit, he really is investing in the stock. He's trying to make himself be serious.
That's why I feel like he's my pick as well.
I'm trying to do the logistics. Like people might think, it's just a pair of pants or whatever, but no, like the fact that
you can see he's changing, he's evolving, he's becoming more serious.
And everything that he's putting into his in-ring persona and just his brand. And
he's not long ago came back from Suplex.
Yeah, him and Jack. Him and Jackson. Jackson and Zach. 2 bookings now for Suplex.
Yeah.
Just did Wrestle Strong as well. Yeah. Same weekend. They're getting out and about.
That's what I mean. They're getting eyes. They're getting around. So
I think, with all due respect to James Marshall, someone who, if y'all, cheap plug, but if y'all listen to the episode, I've had Jackson on the podcast as well, Nova.
Yeah.
But you and I, as co-hosts, we had James on.
Yeah, we did.
We ranted, we laughed, we had a very good time. I could have talked to him for another hour, honestly, but I'd consider him, maybe not a good friend because I don't know him well enough, but I'd consider him a friend.
Yeah.
Obviously not as close as Jackson, but honestly, I'd argue myself and James Marshall probably have more in common than myself and Jackson Thornhill do.
Yeah.
But Jackson Thornhill is my boy, despite the little chip on his shoulder that he has developed, but I think that it's a no-brainer. I just think Kiss from a Rose, 1, 2, 3. I don't think it's going to be that simple in terms of the match. I think it's going to be a very hard-hitting, very even match, but I think at the end of it, it's written on the wall, I think, with all due respect to one James Marshall.
Definitely, yeah.
So you're just flat up.
Straight up, Jackson.
That's a change of pace here. For CIC Pod,
usually we don't agree, but even just watching him and the attitude that he's developed, he does have that chip on his shoulder and it can come back to hurt him, but just watching him when he was at Cowra, he meant business. He was very serious.
I can't even remember what he threw at me, but he threw something at me when I was sitting at the table.
Yeah, I was like, he's just like, shut up. I'm trying to focus, essentially, and just threw something at you. I think it was a knee pad or something, or a shoe or something.
Knee pad or a shirt, or I don't know.
It was something, and I was just like, what has happened.
He did apologise
guy.
afterwards
Something
because
changed.
obviously I've still got the stitches in my eyes. But in that moment, he was just like,
Heated.
he saw red. Pun not intended because they come out to the song for Rogue. But there's something in him lately. And I can't say that I disagree with it because that would be pot kettle black when you look at what happened with myself and STA. But I don't know if I agree per se just with the attitude with Zach and specifically to me, because I've seen nothing but potential in him this entire time. And this may be the way he wants to go about it. That's fine. But I think this potential, it's going to shine here in this tournament for me.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, what about Zack Striker versus Tank Nova Lee? Obviously, two very different.
Yeah.
Tank very heavy on the experience, very much on the power. But Zack Striker recently, as I said, one half of the ICW Tag Team Champions. The ending to that match, it was a Four Corners Tag Team match. The ending to that match saw Zack Striker lock Nick Maltino in his modified version of the arm trap crossface, and he actually made Nick Maltino tap out, which is something that doesn't happen very often for Nick Maltino.
Yeah.
He's on a roll. Rob Messenger antics aside, he is now the current ICW Australian champion as well. Looking to, again, in ECW, it seems like maybe they want that singles gold more so than focusing on being tag teams elsewhere.
Yeah.
They tried at Suplex, they failed. They were both competing at WrestleStrong. Zack Striker was in a singles match. Jackson Thornhill was in a tag match with a random guy that he'd only just met. So I don't even know what to make of that. I don't know why they decided not to team up for that event. Maybe that goes back to the chip on Jackson's shoulder. I don't know. But
who knows?
See, this is hard for me because in my heart I want to say Zach because he is on a roll, but singles match, big match, size versus
agility.
Speed versus strength, I guess, but the size difference is what I'm trying to get at. Oh, and again, every time we talk about Tank on this show, I try not to rant too much. But Tank and I obviously have a very complex history. Yeah. I kicked him right in the ball bearings in 2019, and it is what it is. Shit happens and life goes on. I feel like, after the battles we had, I've repeated it several times, and I'll say it again, we obviously earned each other's respect back, and there is a mutual admiration there and respect. And even before I got injured, we kind of started to team up a little bit once, Rev turned on me, and it was just all this complex situation. So this is going to be very emotional for me to call on commentary, but I think I have to go with Tank.
Yeah.
I think the experience in this situation, and just, I don't know, with all the issues with Rogue and everything, and again, I'm trying my best to wrinkle these out because when I'm on commentary, I'm an unbiased journalist. So I want to nip this in the bud, but from an outsider, now that I'm sitting here on our show, I want to nip it in the bud, but I'm worried if Zach, and it could be the opposite, it could fuel him to topple Tank because, but I think for me, I'm going to go Tank.
I'm going to go Zach.
Okay.
Do you want to hear why?
Absolutely. That's why we're on a podcast, Nova.
Well, essentially, I think it's going to be Zach because, like I said before, he's even putting stock in himself. He's getting seen in eyes quite a lot of different promotions and things. So he's putting a lot of work in. Just the agility that he's had lately and how, quick and fast-paced that he's been. Another thing that I'd see, and this is why I think he might win it. So, spoiler alert, because we talked about Whipplex before.
Yes.
Tank's having issues. He's been having issues for a while with Benny, right, at ICW and Whipplex. So it's like, is he going to get a bit clouded back in the locker room with those guys at the back, heckling him and stuff, getting in his head?
Nova, last man standing, phenomenal match, but Benny, and you can look at the way Benny won that match with the handcuffs, and it was. But I mean, it's a no disqualification.
But I know that
Benny won the Canberra Championship in that matchup. to cap off that best of 6 series. And
I know, like, essentially they've tried to put it to bed now. They've had this series of matches, right? But I feel like he still might get in Tank's head. And then Zach is focused. He's there and he's focused. I just feel like he has a focus on him. Like, I know he's got issues with Jackson at the moment, but I feel like he's still, pretty focused, where I feel like Tank, it could, interrupt.
See, I do agree with the point that you're making there, Nova, because, again,
I wanted to touch on that.
Last man standing match, they beat the crap out of each other. It was awesome. I can't believe I got to be on commentary for that. But the winner of that match was awarded the Canberra Championship, and even myself and Dennis on commentary and Rob, we had no idea what was going on because no one told us.
Yeah.
Tank himself, turns out, went to ICW, and he was confident enough that he was going to win that match, that he had that title reinstated for the winner. Even Benny, when he was handed the title, was like, where did this come from? What is this?
So confused, yeah.
So to your credit, maybe Tank will want to get, maybe Tank's, because... Maybe Tank's a bit in his own head. I'm in my head now, trying to think. Maybe Tank's in his own head because of that. But then at the same time, when I bring that up, that actually fuels my prediction more, because I'm like, he was so close to getting that.
But see, for
is
me,
it going to push him harder to just steamroll Striker?
For me, I feel like he's got his eyes set on the gold, right? And he's too focused on that than actually paying attention to his opponent.
So you think he's more focused on the ICW Canberra Championship rather than ECW business still?
So I feel like that he's focused on the gold, right? He wants this cup for ECW. Yeah. I know, I think he is still got his mind set on ICW, but I think he's focused on getting this cup so he has a chance at the ECW title. That's how I feel.
So you think Tank's focused, but you think maybe he's too focused?
He's too focused. He's too gold hungry, if you will. To the fact that, he's going to work hard for it, but it's just, I feel like his mind's clouded.
It's going to consume him.
It's going to consume him, and it's going to be clouded, and I just feel like it's just, he's going to be too focused on that than paying attention to his opponent and doing the research. So, you know what I mean?
This is going to be super cheesy. This is going to be super cheesy, and this is just going to show what a fucking nerd I am, right? But this is our show at the end of the day. Did you ever? I know obviously you played Crash Bandicoot Novely. A lot of people played Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
But did you ever play the one where you've actually? I can't think of the name of it, but there's one where you actually have to team up with Cortez.
I think I vaguely remember it.
Because it's basically an enemy of my enemy is my friend situation, where someone else who I can't think of is trying to gather all the crystals. And Crash gets a bit too close to the crystal, and Cortez is like, you can't get close to it. I know it has power, but you'll go crystal crazy.
Yeah.
That is, I understand that is a very nerdy fucking reference to make.
That's what I'm trying to get the point across here.
I can see where you're going with that. Like, he's...
The goal's so close,
but
Tank, it's not.
Tank, many a times, he is a multi-time champion in ICW, CPW. Hasn't had very long title reigns. Every time he's got those titles or gotten close to those titles, something has come along.
I feel like he gets too cocky in his own head. And I think that's his problem. He gets too in his own head. That's why I think Zach is going to win.
I mean, look, again, not trying to make this about me here, but I kind of did the same thing when you look at when Tank and I were teaming at ICW Tag Warfare 2019, the night that I did turn on Tank. We advanced to those finals. I pinned Rev all by myself because Rev took out Tank, and, Tank hit that one move on Rev, and Tank seemed to think that was what won the match. But I pinned Rev by myself, got too cocky, went to the finals, and I was like, oh, it's in the bag. We've got the gold. And again, that was more of a cocky thing, but it was still the same thing where I was just looking ahead and my head was clouded. I was like, no, the gold's mine, the gold's mine. Rather than actually focusing on my opponents per se, I was more thinking about the actual titles themselves, if that makes sense. So I kind of, I get, yeah, okay. No. Yeah. I'm still going with Tank. I think it's going to be a very hard-hitting matchup. And obviously, size difference aside, though, to Zack Striker's credit, he has been in the gym. He has been grinding his fucking ass off. He's working really,
investing
really hard.
in himself as well.
But no, I think, again, though, despite the size differential and the experience differential, I think this will be a very close matchup, but I think Tank will pull it out.
Yeah, so for me, another thing is Zack coming back from injury, right? Because he was off a bit there because he was injured. I feel like he's got that hunger more. And then going to all these different places, it's just making him more focused. That's where I'm going to leave that.
No, that's fair enough. I feel like we're both making valid points here.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a very stiff match, to say the least. I think some of those... I mean, the reason his name is Striker, some of those strikes that Striker can pull off, and obviously Tank notorious for those forearms and those... Good God, those chops. I think this is going to be a very stiff, solid competition. But in saying that, just before we move on, you bring up Zack Striker's injury. He did have a hernia. A lot of Tank's offense, the splashes and the spear.
Yeah, true, but
target that midsection area. Yeah. So if he does hit one of them, could spell disaster for Striker. But
hopefully Striker's agility and fastness doesn't let him get in there. That's all I'm saying.
You brought up a very valid point. I didn't think of that. And we said this before.
I feel like he's more hungry.
I can't remember. No, it wasn't ECW. It was the Emma Butler Memorial Show where Tank needed to be more focused with Benny and show a mean streak. And he did. He finally did. But then look at what happened in that last man standing match. He got too carried away with hurting Benny.
Yep.
And Benny...
See?
And Benny's... I'm onto something. And Benny, the way Benny eventually won, again, is it underhanded that he handcuffed him to the ropes? And maybe. But it was legal within the last man standing match. If Tank had have finished the job before that, and granted he had Apex Anderson to deal with as well, but if Tank had just put those finishing blows on, he wouldn't have ended up in that situation.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see the point you're making, but no, I'm going to stick with Tank. I'm assuming you're not going to stick with Zack.
Yep, I'm not moving.
That's absolutely fine. We've ranted a lot already with just the first two matches, but this is a solid. All of our cards have been solid so far for ECW, but this may be the strongest one, to be honest. Especially once we get to that main event. But tag match: Mark Kelly, Nick Meltino, Dad Squad versus Benny Whiplash, Apex Anderson. I have all of the respect and love in the world for Benny Whiplash, despite some of the differences we've had in the ring. Obviously, his history with Tank is just as complex as mine and Reverend Diath and everyone else. Nova Lee's shoulder just cracked and the microphone just picked it up, if you're wondering what that was. Holy fucking shit.
That was a nice little dislocation.
My lord. That sounds like some of the sounds we heard in that last man standing match with Tank and Benny back at Clash in the Capitol in December. But speaking of ECW here, I'm just going to put it real simple. I can't put it any more basic than this. All the respect in the world to Benny Whiplash. I don't know why he thinks he's 7 foot tall when he's clearly not, but that's another discussion for another day. I'm just going to say this. Fuck Apex Anderson. Dad Squad gets the win.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. I'm still tossing up.
You can elaborate if you like, but that's all I'm saying about that.
I'm only just tossing up because... just going back to that last man standing match at ICW and just seeing, like, the comeuppets that was Benny Whiplash and Apex Anderson, just the stuff that they were getting up to. Are they going to do some of this slimy shit and get a win, like a cheeky win against the Dad Squad? I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not a big fan of this Apex Anderson guy because he just keeps starting beef with you. I don't know.
Do you want me to actually elaborate on this properly?
I just don't know. I'm torn. I'm just like, I don't want them to win. I'd rather the Dad Squad win. That I just feel like they're going to do some slippery, slimy shit and win.
Look,
so
I'll elaborate, okay? I'll elaborate. I still say fuck Apex Anderson. I have no doubt Benny Whiplash, Apex Anderson, they're going to pull some slimy, cheesy shenanigans.
They always do.
But you're in there with two guys who had a hand in writing the book on shenanigans. Nick Meltino was not always a clean-cut competitor. Mike Kelly for damn sure was not a clean-cut competitor. There's a reason that he was in the first ever match that I had with the Resistance.
Do you think that they're going to pick up on the tricks that Whipplex is going to ensue? Do you think they'll pick up on it pretty fast, what they think they're going to do?
This is going to
Can they read their opponents?
This is going to be...
Because they're similar?
This is going to be a case of... And this is where wrestling is such a beautiful thing, because Apex Anderson does it and he's a scumbag. Nick Maltino and Mike Kelly does it. It's funny. So, like, look, maybe I'm a hypocrite, but if Apex... I don't think Dad Squad will cheat first. But if Apex Anderson, or should say when Apex Anderson and Benny decide to pull some underhand tactics, I have absolutely no doubt that the Dad Squad will, A, not only read it, but B, they'll have a receipt for it, and then some.
Yeah, true.
And might I remind you, the Dad Squad, although they've only had a handful of matches all up in the last couple of years, they have only lost one of those tag team matches.
You know what it is? They're pretty serious from coming back and getting the milk, you know?
Absolutely. I don't know what's in that milk.
What's in that milk, bro? Like, what is in that milk? Anyway, you were saying.
But I just want to point out, the Dad Squad debuted 2022, the Emma Butler Memorial Show. They got the win. They both took a hiatus because they both had their own respective injuries and stuff that they had to deal with.
They had to deal with the children?
That too. But they've come back. They beat Rogue in a banger of a match at Saturday Night Smash. Banger of a match. And then you fast forward, and yeah, they lost most recently. But who'd they lose to? As I said just before, Zack Stryker and Jackson Thornhill. Yeah. They got a win back with Zack Stryker actually making Maltino tap out. But the Dad Squad have only lost one match as a team.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
pretty solid. Pretty solid.
I think this will be their this will only be their fourth or their fifth match, I think, as a team. This is only going to be Apex and Benny's third match as a team, and obviously they unfortunately haven't had the best track record really as a team. I know there's been some, there's been some shenanigans which has caused them to have success as a team as well, but most of the time it's because they've been in their own singles matches and the other ones interfered.
Yeah.
This is only their third match as an actual team. And I guess technically they're 50-50 in terms of success as a team, but they seem to struggle more as a team than they do as individuals, and then the other one sneaks in and...
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm trying to give the devil their due. They are... As a duo, they're great, but when it comes to being in there and the bell rings and it's a tag team match now, just something seems to be missing when they're in there as an actual tag team as compared to doing each other's dirty work in the singles matches. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just think the Dad Squad have it. That's just me.
I can't decide. I just can't. Even with going through all that, I just can't decide. I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna be Whipplex. I don't know. I just feel like they're up to mischief, and I know, like you were saying before, you were making a really good point that both Mike Kelly and Nick Maltino have been up to a lot of shenanigans before, and it might be easy for them to read, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go Whipplex. As much as I don't like that Apex Anderson dude, the way he talks shit about you, but anyway. That's a story for another day.
No, at least he has a good choice in sports teams, I suppose, Nova Lee.
Yeah. Golden Birds.
Probably the only thing he's going to fucking go for. But anyway, I think the Dad Squad.
I think Whipplex. I'm mixing it up here.
That's fine. So far, only one we've agreed on, which I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, we always have very difference in opinions, but anyway.
So this next one is... I don't want to sound sexist, but it's almost a battle of the sexes here. But it's intergender wrestling, but to me, it's just wrestling. They're two wrestlers in a ring, and that's all that matters. We have the She-Wolf, the no longer being referred to as Lido. She has requested, so I will just put that on the record. And if I refer to her as such in this episode or even on commentary. I do apologise. I'll try and
Slip
break
the
that habit.
tongue.
But she is now just the She-Wolf, a.k.a. the Mistress of the Ring, taking on the C-Factor, or AWOL, Chris Stevens. These two have a very long, winding, complex history at suplex professional wrestling. And with all due respect to everyone else on the card, this one may actually be the most hard-hitting match on this card.
It could be, for sure.
Because at the end of the day,
That history.
when the bell rings, it's two competitors in there with a history. It's, for lack of a better term, this could almost be considered a grudge match.
I could feel that.
And I get paid to call it.
Definitely.
You get, and you technically you do as well, because you're going to say, here is your winner, a bloody blah, and making their way to the ring.
Yeah.
Fucking da-da-da-da. It's going to be all sorts of things. But I think these two individuals are going to beat the absolute crap out of each other. But I think, again, all of these matches, I don't think there's going to be one single match that's one-sided. I think all of these matches are going to be really close. But I think, right when it comes down to it, I think with the role that he's been on recently, I think Chris Stevens may just pull it off.
I actually surprisingly agree with that.
Yeah?
I do. I love She-Wolf, and I've been seeing a lot of the stuff that she's been doing. But at the same time, just the role that C-Factor's on, I feel like he's got it.
But then at the same time, almost arguing with myself, you got to factor in that obviously Jake Gibson and She-Wolf, when they're in the same building at the same time,
they seem to
Insurgency,
clean up,
who as an unbiased official, I am a very big fan of Insurgency. The results speak for themselves, but in saying that, Jake with Doomslayer on his mind, maybe occupado.
Yes. Muy occupado.
But no, I'm still going C-Factor / AWOL Chris Stevens, with all due respect to She-Wolf.
Yeah.
Please don't come for me. I am not medically cleared, but no, I think it's going to be a very close match. But I think, no, C-Factor, with the role that he's been on,
I agree with that.
They both took a little bit of time off there for a bit.
Yeah.
C-Factor has been back a little bit more regularly than She-Wolf. Only just, but no, I think C-Factor / AWOL Chris Stevens, although he didn't have some very nice things to say to me at the Emma Butler Memorial Show or even at Clash in the Capitol. I don't know what it is, man. Like,
people just don't like you.
touche. I don't like myself, but I'm sitting at the desk and I'm trying to tell the crowd how talented C-Factor is.
He's just like, shut
and
up.
he's turning around in his mouth and off at me, telling me that I suck at my job and I need to hire someone better and da 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 da. And I think he even
attitude.
I think he even said something along the lines of me and my wife should swap seats or something because you were in the crowd for that particular show, and I was just like, bruv.
Everyone likes me.
Don't know what I did wrong.
Everyone seems to like me, but anyway.
Doing my best to put this man over. All I said was I don't like his attitude, which I don't. But again, pot kettle black. I have a big mouth myself. It gets myself into trouble. But I think C-Factor, AWOL. I think he's going to go AWOL here. Whether he hits whether he locks in that crisscross submission or whether he hits a big old sling blade or the jumping face buster, which I've forgotten the name of. The shoot down. I used to call it the bite the bullet when I do it. Why doesn't he just call it bite the bullet? It's a cooler name. Maybe that's why he doesn't like me. Is he jealous that I did it better than he did? No, I think C-Factor.
You need to shut up, because you're going to have both She-Wolf and C-Factor coming for you, mate.
I have doctor's notes. I can only hide behind that excuse for a limited amount of time. But no, I think C-Factor, AWOL, Chris Stevens, I think he'll just pull out the win with She-Wolf.
I agree. It's definitely a very...
I almost said Sea-Wolf.
Maybe
they could team up and be called Sea-Wolf.
I feel like it's a very equal playing field here. So, it's going to be close.
But could that be an idea? Did I just make something up by accident?
Sea-Wolf. Like a sea wolf, like a wolf that's from the sea.
The letter C, because he's the C-Factor.
Oh.
C-Wolf. The tag team, they could be Sea-Wolf.
Oh, yeah, that works.
They could be a tag team.
I guess so.
I'm just spitballing here because I made an
ADHD?
ADHD slip, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. He can throw up the C, and he can draw like a little wolf face on his hand. I don't fucking know. But no, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a great match. I don't want to discount that. Like, I'm having fun here. I'm on the pod. My wife's next to me. I'm excited. But no, this is going to be a great match. But I think Chris Stevens is going to go AWOL here, and he's going to shoot down the She-Wolf.
Yeah.
You're actually
I
agreeing?
actually agree.
Okay, that's two that two we've agreed on, two we've disagreed on so far.
Different.
And then we have the Cup Finals. And this is where it's going to be interesting because we both said, in our prediction-wise, that we feel it's going to be Jackson Thornhill advancing.
And then Zach for me.
But then I thought Tank.
But I think Zach.
So just straight up, out of these four men, we'll throw James Marshall in there as well. I don't want to discount him because he could beat Jackson Thornhill. He very well could.
Yeah, we could be both wrong.
Who do you think wins this Extreme Capital Wrestling Cup?
I'm going to go with, as much as I think, I pick Jackson and Zach, okay? So, going off, if my predictions are right, I'm going to say, as much as I love Jackson, he is a big, burly guy, but I think Zach.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a Rogue versus Rogue situation. I think Zach's going to win. And again, I sound like a crack record, but just the chip on Jackson's shoulder, I feel like he's not going to be focused enough. He's just, I don't know, there's something going on. Just the attitude he keeps giving to Zach. I'm worried if them two verse each other like I'm predicting, there's going to be a lot of back and forth there.
See, I'm a little bit torn here. And a lot of people would be like, oh, boys, calm down, calm down. I kind of hope it ends up being Rogue versus Rogue. Because I want these guys to beat the shit out of each other.
Just get it
and get it out of their
out.
fucking system.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of it. And
Yeah.
and look, he's going to get mad at me saying this, but it has been more Jackson than Zach. But
Yeah,
to Zach's credit, I know that he is getting a little bit fired up himself.
He's getting
he needs to let it out as well. He needs to let it out. But I think Zach, there's a reason we call him the Rogue Heart. Okay, he is the heart of this group, and genuinely, Zach Stryker outside the ring has a heart of gold. And I'm not saying that Jackson Thornhill doesn't. Because outside of the ring, he has checked on me so many times with these medical appointments. He really has. But I think they're going to beat the shit out of each other. But if it comes down to... This isn't just winning a match. If it does come down to those two, it's going to be a fight. And it's going to be... You're going to have to hurt your opponent to win because of the heart they both do have. And then the pride they both do have.
It's a pretty big prize when you look at it.
Not to make a pun on both of their nickname, but there's a lot of heart, there's pride, there's soul, there's everything here. It's going to take something big to put your opponent down. Mm-hmm. And I just fear that maybe Zach doesn't quite have what it takes to hurt Jackson Thornhill. And that may be his detriment because Jackson Thornhill, I know for a fact, if I didn't have these stitches in my eye, I guarantee you he would have punched me in the face.
Oh, I guarantee
at Clash in the Capitol.
Yeah,
It got heated. It got heated.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I still don't understand or know why. But I think if it comes down to us, if our prediction is right, and it comes down to Jackson Thornhill and Rose, as I said, I still think it's going to be Tank that advances to the final. But even in that vein, over again, I know it's ECW, it's not ICW, but I feel ECW, with all due respect to Tank, it's more Thornhill's vibe. It's more dark and grungy and gritty, and it's his type of vibe. It's an underground fight club basically. Like he's going to come out and you do anything, you can use anything. There's a fucking hardware store next door to the venue. Like it's Tank loves bringing in the plunder as well. Yeah. But I think whether it's Tank, if it comes down to Tank and Thornhill, it's going to be a very different match, but it's still going to be a very chaotic match. But I think Thornhill once again, much like when he became number one contender for the ICW heavyweight title, I think he wins the cup by beating Tank. But if it comes down to Jackson and Zach, which was your prediction between Zach and Tank, I don't think Zach will be able to pull the trigger, whereas Thornhill will be more than willing to pull the trigger because he wants to win. And possibly we've seen Thornhill against C-Factor, he pulled out the turnbuckle.
Yes, that's right.
Which was his downfall because C-Factor ended up getting to use it behind the referee's back.
Yeah, that's
which goes back to maybe C-Factor / AWOL Chris Stevens a bit more, you know. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not AWOL Chris Steven is straight-laced against C-Factor, because that's another one where they could basically just... It's going to be who out-cheats each other the best. But no, I think Jackson Thornhill takes this cup.
Okay. I see that. I see you.
So you think Zack Striker takes it home?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But the main event, Nova. Jay Gibson versus Doomslayer.
Ooh.
Dude.
What a fucking match.
Now,
it's gonna be solid. How
many times have I said it, but I'm going to say it again. Jay Gibson, A-Shack was my favourite match in Australia, the entire country, of 2024. And the fact that I got to call it was fucking awesome. This could very much well, and with all due respect to A-Shack, who I'm sure still has his eye, he's owed a shot at that ECW championship in the future. Obviously, card subject to change with this one. We found a suitable replacement, but I think this match could very well and most likely will top that matchup. I think, judging by things that he said on this show, things that he said on social media and everything else, don't get me wrong, as much as it'd be cool for Doomslayer to come in and have a Cinderella story and win the title in his first match, I think Jay Gibson, obviously he himself, no stranger to bending the rules if he has to, and ECW is very lax on rules as he is, but we already saw the first show. We had 2 rules. Gibson broke one of them. With She-Wolf in the building, he may break the second one this show, you never know, but... I don't think Jay Gibson needs She-Wolf or shenanigans to beat Doomslayer, though. He does have the tools, and I think, again, going to be a close match, going to be dirty, going to be gritty. These guys are going to beat the piss out of each other. I think this is Jay Gibson's first title defense because, we had to postpone the last show just because life and everything else. He's held this championship for 12 months and he hasn't defended it a single time. And Doomslayer took a pot shot at him about that. This wasn't Jake's fault. I mean, granted Jake decided to take our second show off because he thought he was too good for us. That's fair enough. But he was more than willing to defend against A-Shack in November before the show was postponed. And I think the chip on Jake Gibson's shoulder, the yellow streak on his back, they get bigger and bigger every freaking day. And he is going to come into this... And he's going to want to kick Doomslayer's teeth in.
I'm just so divided. I just don't know. This whole card, I've just been so tossed up who the hell I'm picking.
This? Not even just this card. This match alone, the real winner is the fans. And when you stack everything else that we're talking about in on top of that,
and
this is going to be a bang.
Do you want to know why I'm so divided? For this
absolutely,
match,
that's why we're here on the Pod Nova. Please tell us.
I'm just so divided because there's just so much experience in this freaking match. All the experience that Doomslayer's had and all the promotions that he's been over and seen and gone to, and he's been all over the place, man. He's been everywhere, man, But at the same time, Jake is very much the same. Very experienced, very much been all over the country as well. So... the experience.
This is
so much experience in one ring.
This is a really weird situation. I think if it comes to crunch, I think Jake does pull it out. That is my prediction off the bat. But it's worth noting, Nova, right? There is an age gap here between Doomslayer and Jake Gibson. Doomslayer's made no bones about it. He's around 40-ish. Jake's mid-30s. There's a slight age gap here, but despite the age gap, Gibson's got a 7 or 8 year experience edge on Doomslayer in this business.
Yeah.
But Jake's been all over New South Wales and Sydney, and he's wrestled for so many different companies.
Yeah,
but Doomslayer has been up and down this country, and I think, honestly, in a small amount of time, I might have to fact check this, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure Jake.
Yeah, I should have really checked this before we come on. I'm sure Jake will. Just like, oh my god.
I'm sure Jake won't let me hear the end of it if I am wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure on paper, I think Doomslayer has worked more companies than Jake Gibson has.
Possibly.
If not, they're neck and neck. But to Doomslayer's credit, he's travelled everywhere.
Yeah.
Victoria, Queensland, obviously his home state of Tasmania, New South Wales.
Yeah, I think he's got his eyes on the Northern Territory.
He was looking towards the ACT, but unfortunately this is technically New South Wales, but it's right on the border with Extreme Capital Wrestling.
It counts.
But no, Doomslayer been up and down all around this country. Jake Gibson been up and down all around New South Wales, trained with top-tier elite athletes and trainers. And that's not to say that the people that have trained Doomslayer aren't talented, but like if you look at names and stuff that Jake has worked with and trained with. So this is...
who has Doomslayer been against and rubbed shoulders with as well? So I'm very divided. This whole card's had me divided. But this match...
Doomslayer was just in a multi-man cage match with the likes of the Australian sensation Craven and Zion Quinn, among others. So there's that. But Doomslayer has wrestled so many talented professional wrestlers up and down this country. I mean, obviously, as has Jake, but it's just so weird because Jake has quite a number of years of in-ring experience. Obviously, Doomslayer has more life experience, which could possibly still come into play as well. But
it's hard.
You look at it's such different routes, but it kind of evens out. Like it almost makes it parallel in a weird roundabout way. But no, I think just the Doomslayer is much like me in a lot of ways, and obviously way more talented. But Doomslayer to me is very he likes ticking things off the bucket list and putting things on lists, as I do. There's nothing wrong with that. Jake is more of a fuck your list, I'ma just punch you in the face type of person.
Yeah, but see, this time I feel like it's different. See, usually, and I think to Jake's credit, it's worked a lot of times. He sends stuff in usually. He hasn't done it this time. Usually he talks shit and it throws his opponents off, and it's been successful.
But
for the last 2 times before this,
the interview we did recently with Jake, he was going in. He just had the match with JB, which he did successfully retain in, and then now Doomslayer. He was very serious in that interview. He was very intense, and he was very happy-go-lucky for that entire conversation. Right up until we asked him about those matches, and his mentality it just snapped.
I just feel like I'm leaning more towards Doomslayer. I just feel like, I don't know, is Jake
so you think
getting
the fact that
too
Jake
cocky?
didn't run his mouth?
Yeah, I feel like him running his mouth usually helps him because he throws them off. But I'm like, this time he hasn't. So I feel like that might work in Doomslayer's favour.
In saying that, though, it's not just a calling conversation. On the ECW socials and Jake's own socials,
he did do a good promo.
He has thrown some pretty...
So, I mean, it could still work. It's still his good luck charm. He's still trying to throw him off.
Jake really was the one that made this match heat up with some of the insults that he threw at Doomslayer. He doesn't even know Doomslayer as a person, but he just went boom, 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 boom. And Doomslayer...
You do have a point there as well.
Was like, oh, well, Doomslayer was kind of having a bit of fun, but he was looking at the title, and Jake almost made it personal.
That's true.
So
I forgot about that promo too. Oh, I don't know. I just feel like this time it's going to be different. I just feel like Doomslayer's got it. I don't know. I just feel like Doomslayer's got it.
See, this is where if we were professional, I would have just played that promo still on the podcast, obviously with ECW's permission. But
I did know about it, and I do remember it. It was a very memorable,
very visceral
promo, and it was pretty violent. But at the same time, I'm just saying, usually it's his good luck charm that he sends something into us. So I don't know. This time just feels different. You're just
vibing Doomslayer?
I'm vibing Doomslayer, man. I don't know what it is. I've just got something in me that's just saying Doomslayer's going to take the gold.
I will say, not that anyone's keeping track, and we don't do it for fun or anything, but a lot of these, Nova, I think you're actually beating me in predictions for some of these shows.
I have been. I have been.
It's neck and neck, but I think you're still technically ahead. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But so we'll just kind of rewind here, right? Mm-hmm. Thornhill versus Marshall. We both said Thornhill with all due respect to Grace, James Marshall, Striker and Tank.
Striker.
You still
nah.
Okay.
Striker.
Yeah.
It's Striker.
No, I'm just trying to recap here.
I'm passionate about this. It's Striker. Okay. Sorry, Tank. Love y'all, but no it's Striker.
We're just trying to do the recap here. I'm not trying to change your mind.
Okay. Don't be trying to.
I'm not trying to.
Don't be trying to come for my gold, mate. But you know, I've been pretty on with these predictions the last couple of times. Don't you be coming over here, mate. Like, okay. Don't you be trying to get in my head, okay? Okay, honey. Okay.
All right. No, but the caffeine's definitely kicked you now because you've drank like 3/4 of it. Okay, so Thornhill.
Take another sip.
You're going Striker.
Striker.
Okay, so Thornhill, Striker. I'm going Tank. I'm going Dad Squad.
I'm going actually Whiplex.
Yep, Whiplex. Okay.
I feel like they're going to pull something slimy out.
We both said C Factor, aka...
We did.
I need to stop
I love She-Wolf, but I feel like C Factor's going to do something slippery, slimery as well, and he's going to get in there and he's going to win.
Honestly, I think this match here is going to be two people trying to out-cheat each other the whole time.
I feel like
and
that's
it's going to be the hardest hitting match to me.
Yeah.
But again, saying that...
I agree.
Jay Gibson's going to give a couple of licks to Doomslayer, and Doomslayer's probably going to give some back as well. But,
yeah, for
sure. I think just the grudge match aspect of the history that I keep saying she factor, Seawolf she factor.
Bro!
Oh my god!
Some professionalism wouldn't go astray.
What are words? Buy the T-shirt. Jesus fucking Christ! Shaka laka laka and titty sprinkles. You think Zack Striker's going to have a Cinderella story with this cup?
I do. I really think... I'm just behind him. I just feel like he's got it. You know?
I still think Jackson Thornhill. However, if one of my boys from Rogue wins, that's going to make me happy. It's going to make me very happy.
Yeah, I can see that.
All bits and bobs aside, and obviously, you know, you're the Miss Nova leader.
I'm the queen pin of Rogue.
Don't act fucking all innocent over here.
I am...
I see what you're doing. You're picking Rogue. You're biased and da-da-da.
Shut up.
Every time I pick someone from Rogue, I get in trouble.
I have my own agenda.
Every time I go against Rogue, I get in trouble.
I'm the queen pin of Rogue, man. I've got my own agenda. No, you know?
Okay, so Thornhill, Striker for you, Tank for me, Dad Squad for me, Whiplex for you. We both think AWOL Chris Stevens.
We do.
You think Zack Striker wins the cup in the finals.
I do.
I think Jackson Thornhill. And you think...
You nearly just said Zach. I nearly just swayed you.
No, I almost said Zaxon. Zaxon Thornhill.
That is a good name. Zaxon.
We will name our first baby Zaxon.
If you win, Zach, we'll call our first baby Zaxon.
If you win, Jackson, we'll call our first baby Zaxon.
It works either way.
Jesus Christ.
See what we did there.
Oh my God. Okay. Main event. You think Doomslayer becomes Anu?
I do. Anu.
I don't see Jake Gibson with the titles that he's had and the accolades that he's had, and I know Doomslayer has had a handful of titles, again, across the country as well, but I can't see Jake Gibson, and I get it, 2025 for wrestling's been wild, not just in Australia, but internationally. We're not going to talk about it in this episode, but let's face it, the grand scheme of professional wrestling as a whole, from 2023 to like now, but 2024 was wild. 2025's already been wild, and we're only in fucking February. This show is obviously 1st of March.
There's so much talent in Australia right now. Holy shit.
I'm not going to say never say never.
Never
but
say never.
On the surface, Nova Lee, I just can't imagine a world in which Jake Gibson loses a title at this stage.
I see where you're coming from.
Offense.
I don't know. I just feel like something different. I feel like something different's going to happen.
To your credit, though, Doomslayer is in incredible shape. Mm-hmm. And exactly, I swear to God, on a weekly basis, he just looks better and better. And that's not to discount Jake, because Jake is getting in fantastic shape as well and putting in the work and the training that he is doing with some of the individuals that he's doing it with and everything else. Jake's my prediction, as I said, but I don't want to discount him just by saying, oh my God, look at how much good shape Doomsday's in. No, I think Jake Gibson...
I just don't want to discredit any of these guys because I don't want them coming after me.
I don't want to discredit anyone on this entire card, to be honest.
Because it's solid. It's a friggin' solid show that they're going to put on.
And again, the order we've written here is just the order we'd
put
book, it in because
like fantasy
unfortunately
book.
We didn't quite get with how busy ECW management has been.
They're running around getting everything sorted, so totally fair.
But no, regardless of which order these matches happen in, it could be C-Factor and She-Wolf opening the card, and that would be a solid opener as well. We could open with a tag match. That'd be a solid opener as well. We could open with Striker and Tank. That'd be a solid opener as well. But this whole card, top to bottom, is going to be amazing. If I were to put a theoretical, metaphorical gun to your head, Nova Lee, and I all these matches are going to be great in their own way, absolutely. This whole card, again, with all due respect to some of the talents we've had on our first and second show, this could be our most stacked card to date, which is awesome to see. I'd love to see this tradition continue, and every card just gets better and better and better somehow, some way. If you had to pick just one match, what match are you most looking forward to on this card?
Can I pick two?
If you give reasoning for it, then sure.
Please. So the finals for the cup, because I think that's gonna go fucking off.
So in theory, regardless of who of the four men end up in there,
I think they've got a solid four guys, right? Doesn't matter who's in it. As much as I want it to be Rogue versus Rogue, because I reckon that will freaking slap, there's so much talent between these four guys. I just want to see it. I reckon it's just going to go off.
Well, I mean, selfishly, right? Like, I think Jackson, as I said, is going to win the whole thing. That's my prediction. But selfishly, I'm like, James Marshall versus Zack Striker?
Would be friggin'
I'm like, if that's on the table, take my fucking money. And obviously, like, I get paid to call this. But even Tank versus James Marshall, that's a match I don't think anyone's thought about ever. And it's not to discredit either of them per se, but they're both in very different parts of the country and they do their own thing and very different, clash of styles, but styles make fights. And I feel like with the personalities between these two, that could be a great match as well. So, no, I can see that in terms of just the anticipation of it's going to be a mini tournament and the tournament, finale. I can see that.
Yeah.
What's the other one, Nova?
The other one is the main event. Obviously. Like, I feel like it's very obvious. Like, then I feel like the first, it's in no order. The first would be main event. The second for me then would be the cup. Because I feel like there's just going to be so much energy and just, it's just going to be amazing, the main event. It's just set up to be amazing, So much experience in One Ring.
See, I'm torn because there's 3 matches that I'm really looking forward to.
The third one for me would actually be C-Factor versus She-Wolf.
See, I'm going to say
because I feel like, just as you mentioned, the friggin' history there would be, it's going to be a hard-hitting match. Okay,
See, I'm torn because
that's my 3.
Again, Dad Squad versus Whiplex.
Don't count them out as well.
Great. Tank versus Striker will be great. Obviously, the main event is the main event for a reason, and that's kind of the point of it being the main event, right? But C-Factor and She-Wolf was actually what I was going to bring up because it's a grudge match. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, honestly, if I was to have to pick, I'm like, I'd probably put C-Factor and She-Wolf at the top of the list, if I'm honest, even above the main event. But then at the same time, and it's kind of just me convincing myself, but going back to the start when we were talking about Thornhill versus Marshall, 7 years in the making. My God, Novaly's knee just popped that time. Your shoulder has cracked 2 or 3 times. The microphone has picked it up every time. And your knee.
Because I just turned 30.
Nova's getting so excited for these matches that she's getting ready to step in the ring herself. She's getting all the bones popping back into place.
Oh, yeah, but crack it in.
As I was trying, this is all one take. This is all staying in. But I, as I said, if I really had to put one at the top, I kind of want to say C Factor or AWOL Chris Stevens, whatever he's going to show up as that night. I think he's got a bit of a split personality, if I'm honest. Him versus She-Wolf, going to be awesome. I'd probably put that at number 1. But at the same time, I still want to give it a mention because, as I said, you can't write this stuff. Yeah. 7 years in the making, right? Like, dude, this is a genuine thing that has been building, and both guys have just been wanting it to come to a head, and they're finally going to clash, and it's going to be awesome. So
this whole card is just awesome.
All 5 matches, or 6 matches, I should say, because the Cup Finals is there. Blah, blah, blah. What is math? But... yeah, all 6 matches on this card, I feel like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely hard to tell on paper which one's going to be match of the night. Like, the main event, with all due respect, like, you look at it on paper, it's Jay Gibson versus Doomslayer from a draw perspective. It's the biggest draw. It deserves to be the main event. But I think in terms of quality and results and everything else... I think the main event at the end of the night is going to have to fight to be the main event, if you know what I'm talking about, in terms of when people leave that building, that main event, like, it's the main event for a reason, as I said, but you look at everything else and you break it down, they're going to have to work for people to be leaving that venue to say, man, that main event was match of the night and da-da-da-da. Like, there could be, like, a little kid that goes, man, that Chris Stevens versus She-Wolf match, man, that was awesome. I want to be a professional wrestler because of She-Wolf, or I want to be a professional wrestler because of Chris Stevens. But at the same time, as I said, Tank has a very good following with the crowd. Zack Stryker, very, as I said, he's got the heart, he's got the passion, he's an underdog. That draws people in as well. People could be like, man, I want to be like Zack Stryker because he beat Tank, or man, Tank really fucking steamrolled through that tournament. Like, however this goes, whoever wins, like, there's all these different factors, Nova.
There's just this card is just chef's kiss. Just the way it's set out.
That's something we haven't thrown out for a while on the pod.
You've got your interstaters and your local boys, and it's like, just clash each other. It's just, I'm just so excited for this.
So just, chef's kiss. That was Nova popping again while she did a chef's kiss while
I'm just popping and locking. I'm just so excited. I just can't hide it.
But honestly, how about you guys? You listen to this episode and you tell us who you think's going to win and why you think they're going to win and which match you're most excited for. And more importantly, as we record this Wednesday, February 19th, we've got a week to go. A week and a little bit to go. We've got what? A week and 1, 2, 3 days. So you might as well say a week and a half when this episode's going to drop at like 11 p.m. So... a week and 2 days, basically, because it's close enough. But let us know who you think is going to win, why you think they're going to win, etc., etc. But most importantly, buy those tickets.
So I just want to say, too, just because we're only like a week and a half out, I'm filled with anticipation.
Are you feeling nervous, Nova, is the question?
No, I'm actually really excited. I'm not even feeling any nerves at all.
I reckon
surprisingly,
the night of you'll probably
I'll probably feel like I want to vomit. But on the lead up, I'm that excited.
Because, we've done, obviously this is only the 3rd show for ECW, but the last 2 you were kind of like, I'm excited but nervous, but da-da-da-da. But see, this card...
I feel like, too, that's what I'm saying. It's electric. And also, I feel like I've kind of had a bit of a change because I've had that break to kind of just chill out, right? I've got some amazing advice... from Andy.
Michael Lee, Andy Coyne, Gemstone.
The beautiful Gemstone.
And then the advice we've gotten from other people just in general, like the life advice given to us by Crazy Steve, which is a thing that happened. Cheap plug, episode 150, 4 episodes ago. Go listen to it. Do the hard thing. But no.
I feel like it's helped me. It's helped me with my nerves and my anxiety. So usually I'd start feeling sick now. I'm like, and now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to roll with it. Just roll with the punches. If I muck up, whatever. Just Lillian Garcia that shit and just chill, right? Like, just go with it, okay? Have a laugh at yourself.
But I think, honestly, we've said it a few times, or I've said it a few times, because I'm a crack record and that's just how I am. But I think, honestly, Nova, I think the fact that you look at this card and you break down this card and it's, again, with all due respect to the people on show 1 and show 2, this is arguably the most stacked card we've had in terms of, you know, people's history of one another and the styles clashing and just, you know, all the bells and whistles and everything wrapped up with a neat little bow. I think the fact that, you know, that is the word you just used, electric.
It is.
Really does help.
It's electrifying.
Jesus.
Throwing out all the little references tonight.
But if I know you did 3, but if you had to pick one, just one, to put at the top of the list, are you still... was it the main event that you said?
I feel like it's got to be. It's got to be the main event for me. I just feel like it's just going to be, just so good.
See, I'm kind of contradicting myself because I'm like, number 1 for me, if I had to pick, is She-Wolf and Chris Stevens. But at the same time, I'm expecting this Doomslayer-Jake Gibson match to be my favourite match of 2025.
For me,
at the same time.
For me, I think it's me being biased. I've seen... The only one that I haven't seen live is James Marshall, right? But seeing Jake and Doomslayer together, like, it's just going to be some magic, man. Like... Oh, I'm just so excited.
I mean, technically, it's your first time seeing Doomslayer live, but
that's what I'm getting at. Like, because that's what I'm saying. The only other one was James Marshall. This is what I was trying to get at. Is then you've got Doomslayer that I've never seen before either, and I'm just like, as much as I've seen the other guys, this is kind of a dream match in the making. Having Jake Gibson in the same ring as Doomslayer.
It's one of those things where
I'm just marking out here.
Again, I don't think anyone's really thought about it. And it's not like, and it's not that, you know, it would be a bad match by any stretch. It's that because they're completely different parts of the world, and every time Doomslayer has travelled to Jake's neck of the woods, Jake's been, you know, elsewhere for another promotion, or maybe he's been with us for one of our shows. But when you really put it out there and go, what about these two guys? Everyone kind of goes, oh shit.
How is that not happened?
Even DPC looked at it and he was like, he did have some things to say on this week's Reaction Wednesday, which dropped today as we're recording this, about how, I don't know if he's edited it out or left it in or not, but he called Jake Jamie by accident. He messed up the name.
Oh, you did not.
I think he did it on purpose, actually, because Jake said some very mean things about Victoria when Jake did the reaction with us over on his YouTube channel.
Yeah,
but he basically said that he hopes that Doomslayer kicks Jake's head in. So that's going to be...
Wow, okay.
Yep. Again, now on Reaction Wednesday, every time I say something, Dan makes a point of going, that's John's words, not mine.
That's DPC's words,
that's
Jake.
DPC words.
That's not ours.
But no, like, there's been so many people that I've talked to that go, how did you guys pull this one out? Like, what the fuck? Because it seemed like a no-brainer once it was on paper. But no, I think, gun to head, I think I'm still... From a drama perspective, I like a good grudge match. I think C Factor and She-Wolf, one, they're both great technical wrestlers, but they also have the history there. So I think it's going to be a bit of a wrestling classic, but I think it's going to get scrappy at the same time. And again,
I can see that. Going
back to seeing who's going to out-cheat who the most... It is a potential little thing to think about, just for me. But
yeah,
obviously, top to bottom, this card, amazing. We can't discount that enough. We're sounding like crack records, but that's the point of doing this preview, is we're trying to break down the card and build some hype and let you guys know what's happening and, you know, all the bells and whistles. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be so freaking fun. I think, Nova... I think we need to recap the song and match of the week so I can hit the plugs and get out of this, because otherwise we're going to be ranting for the next half an hour just about how excited we both are about this.
So your song of the week again for episode 154 was A Hard Day's Night by the Hoodoo Gurus, and your match was Steve Corino versus Colby Corino at PWF #Colby25.
Banger of a match.
Banger.
Which I watched when it first came out on IWTV 3 or 4 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun. But this is actually on I think it's the Pacific Wrestling Federation is their full name. If you just type in Colby versus Steve, it's going to come up. But it's actually on their YouTube channel as well. So you can watch it for free. $3.99. It's the best price, Nova Lee. But yeah. bang a tune, bang a match, bang a band, bang a fucking card. Holy shit.
Banger after banger.
Obviously get your tickets and we'll get into the full plugs in just a second. But with that being said, the link tree. My link tree contains the pro wrestling tees, the Amazon wishlist, the GoFundMe if you're so inclined. Also includes the Patreon, which you get early access Nova Leaf for as little as
$5 dues.
If you subscribe at tier number 2, which is $10 Australian or $6 US, you get instant access to the digital copy of my first children's book, Alphabet Smackdown Call of the Wild. It's a thing that happened and I'm actually really proud of myself, which doesn't happen very fucking often, so please go check that out. I have had nothing but good feedback from it. I'm sure eventually some troll will tell me that I'm shit and I should unalive myself and never write another book again, but people that have actually read the book Nova have given me really good feedback. I've said it on one of the other podcasts, but I'll say it again. I did read it to you one night.
You did.
And you actually fell asleep. It was like I read you a bedtime story. It was really cute.
It was really cute.
And I was like, man, it must be really boring, but...
I fall asleep to movies all the time too.
No, I've had a few people...
I'm just Jeff from the Wiggles at this point.
I've had a few people that have read it and they've given me feedback and told me their favourite parts. And that's my favourite part, is hearing guys, like when I put the fun fact, for example, spoiler alert, with the horses. I am allergic to horses. Our friend Spencer went, hey, are you really allergic to horses? And he's like, man, that sucks. And I was like, hey, thanks for I know you actually read the book now. Yeah. But no, I got some good feedback. And he said that he read it to his niece and she's like, oh, her favourite character were the ducks and da-da-da-da. And I was like, this is making my day, because like actual target audiences are enjoying it just as much as the adults and everything in between. But that's a thing. $15, you get access to the watch-alongs that we've done. We've done a couple of them now, and I did a test run of one by myself. Got some cool ones coming up, Nova. We're going to be doing a watch-along of Bret Hart's Wrestling with Shadows documentary, because you've never actually watched that.
Yes.
There's a movie called Death Rumble, which is like a horror film, which we're going to just say fuck it, and we're going to do as well. There's Chris Jericho's Dark Match on Shudder, which I was going to do, but you said you wanted to join in on that as well.
Yeah, and then there's that claw movie. I can't think what it's called.
The Iron Claw, yes.
Iron Claw. Oh, my brain.
Possibly going to be doing a watch along of that at some point.
Yeah, because we bought the DVD and stuff. We just haven't got there yet.
Yeah, I've had the DVD for like 6
couple
months
of months
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, but plenty of watch alongs coming out. I'm going to be doing a watch along of the Mean One, the Grinch horror film.
Yeah,
Nova may or may not join.
That. I'm not touching that.
But yeah, it's all there for $15. You can get a lot of content. You get the ability even to pick a topic for an episode, whether that be a top 10, a Markapalooza. Maybe you pick something for us to watch along.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the $20 tier, the top tier is...
the Supernova tier!
You just get everything with the added bonus of we'll give you a personalised shout-out in the intro and the outro to
as long as you're subscribed.
For the entire month. And on top of that, if we can get enough, I found a really cool thing that I cannot wait to share. Originally, Nova said don't sell it, but I'm like, if we can get enough people to actually sub to the Patreon, Patreon exclusive giveaways for the Supernova subscribers, it's all that. But obviously, Nova has all of her socials, plus the podcast socials as well. All the pod platforms, all the bells and whistles. I am in the process of making a link tree just for the pod platforms and pod socials, just because, that's the main thing. I'll still put all 3 in there once I do it, just because, why not? I just realised I said do. Haha. But February 28th and also March 1st, down in Victoria, MXW WrestleFest, former WWE superstar Brian Kendrick doing a giveaway with a replica WWE Tag Team Championship that will be signed by Brian Kendrick on one of the 2 nights. I believe it's the second night they're doing it. Could be wrong, but that's a thing that's happening. Obviously, March 1st, what we're here to talk about, Extreme Capital Wrestling, a hard day's fight. Queen Bee and Tigers Club, come down, come early, grab a feed at the Himalayan Tiger. Nova Lee, you and I can both vouch for how amazing the food is at that Himalayan Tigers bistro. Some beautiful, beautiful meals. And honestly, as far as price-wise goes,
priced, yeah.
And the fellow that runs it, absolutely loves wrestling, and the fact that he gets to
have a chat to him.
Basically, he's going to get paid to watch the show because he'll be working in the bistro while
he always
the show's
sticks his head out, or he comes over and just watches.
We do actually have VIP tables in the bistro.
So eat while you watch.
Yes.
How solid.
I believe we've got one table left as of recording this.
Yes.
So scoop that up because I think there's only... Is it 4 seats per table, Nova?
I think so. I think it was 4 seats per table.
I know the stuff and the things of what we're promoting, but yeah, we've got tables, but wherever you sit,
we've got tables, we've got ladders, we've got chairs. No, not really. Just.
I mean, look, if the wrestlers want to go next door to the hardware store, we fucking just might. But no, there's not a bad seat in the venue. The bar staff are friendly. It's just going to be an amazing atmosphere. Get your tickets. Cannot wait. The week after. As much as I shit on him on this show, Apex Anderson faces Rob Messenger in an I Quit match at ICW Insane Asylum at the Belconnen Community Theatre. I cannot wait to call that, in all honesty. I know Rob been out of the game for a bit, but these two are just going to beat the shit out of each other. And to be honest, depending on how Whiplex versus the Dad Squad goes, Rob might even have easy pickings, but I have no doubt they're still going to beat the crap out of each other regardless. And then we fast forward from the 8th of March all the way to November 1st, Nova Lee. Mm-hmm. We won't rant about it too much because we've ranted enough tonight, but a show near and dear to both of us, the 3rd Emma Butler Memorial Show at the Cowra Uniting Church, ICW Central West. Tickets will be below. I cannot wait. And again, scoop alert, I don't know if we're allowed to announce it, but we did announce it a couple of episodes ago. Nova will be there either A, for commentary, or B, for ring announcing. We're still working out the logistics but of what Johnny the Joker wants to do or what management wants him to do, but it's going to be a very, very fun time, and I cannot wait. And although we have dropped a lot of F-bombs on this particular episode, there will be no language on that night. It will be inside a church, and we'll be nice, and still think it's funny that when we did the Emma Butler Memorial preview, there was only one F-bomb in that entire episode. And spoiler alert, wasn't me. But with that being said, Nova, is there anything you'd like to add to this before we wrap this up?
Because I haven't got to do any ring announcing in this episode, I would just like to say, get your tickets so you can hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome A Hard Day's Fight at Extreme Capital Wrestling.
Usually you do the transition, but we don't do that.
Just had to do it.
You're going to be like so hyped when you're like,
I'm
welcome to Extreme.
Welcome to Extreme Capital Wrestling's A Hard Day's Fight.
Okay, so what time is it on March 1st, Nova Lee? What time is it?
The time is now.
It's time to get extreme.
It's time to get extreme.
The setup, I'm going to leave that in. Nova Lee, what time is it?
The time is now. It's time to get extreme. And our number one rule: don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, honestly, like that's it.
Fun.
That's it. That's literally it. But no, please buy a ticket. Come hang out. Come take a selfie with me. Come take a selfie with Nova Lee.
No one's took a photo with me yet. So come on, let's do it. Let's go. Get your tickets.
No, Nova Lee wants her first.
Please.
And then she's going to tell ECW that she's putting the rate up.
I'm putting the rate up because I got fans now. No, but one person takes a photo with me. It's probably my mother-in-law.
That's one thing that I would like to drive home. Like merchandise, everything. ECW just ordered a whole fuckload of new merchandise.
Yes, get on that.
But as far as the photos and everything, completely free at ECW. Wrestlers do not charge for photos here.
Yes.
They will be out intermission after the show. Just walk up, say hi, ask for a photo. They will oblige. They are
a lot of them
contractually obliged to your request.
And a lot of them have a lot of merch. Great 8x10s and stuff that you can buy as well if you want to support the wrestlers.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cool shit. Come down, buy a souvenir, have a great night, drink a beer, drink a water if you don't drink, I don't know. But just come down, have an amazing night. Just don't be a dickhead, but buy a ticket. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I'm so pumped. Let's go. Can
we
go now?
This episode's just going to be an hour and a half of us going, this is going to be so awesome. This is going to be so fucking awesome.
It's stacked. It's solid.
But I am the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
You guys were just caught
In conversation. Shakalaka and get extreme!
Titty Sprinkles, buy those tickets.